Hi, Stella.
Hey, Brian, can you hear me?
Yes.
Excellent. Well, good morning, everyone. It's wonderful to be with all of you today, even though we continue to adjust our daily lives in this ever-changing landscape of the pandemic that's continuing to challenge our country, our Commonwealth, and in particular, our public schools. And I do want to thank you for the opportunity to share with you our work navigating the 11th largest school system through a global pandemic, as we grappled with how best to serve our students and staff while striving to meet every student's academic and social emotional needs. When the medical community was attempting to assess what exactly the pandemic meant for public health and keeping communities safe, our school board was tasked with finding real-time solutions to serve nearly 180,000 students. Shortly after a strong virtual start in the fall of 2020, we began phasing in high-need students. And when vaccines became available, we partnered with our local health department and Inova to prioritize access for our teachers and our staff so we can ensure safety in the classroom. From the spring of 2020 to the fall of 21, we provided millions of meals to school-aged children and their families. Our essential food service employees worked tirelessly to offer neighborhood pickup spots across the county, and our bus drivers delivered food directly to neighborhoods. Our school staff communicated with families to ensure their needs were being addressed and supported. For some, that meant a daily call to act as a student's alarm clock so they could log into classes. For others, it was a familiar voice to offer support and social distance visits outside our students' homes. This time was extremely difficult for our families. And for those of us on the board, we understood this personally, as what was happening wasn't just to other people's children, but also to our own. And as many parents did, we grappled between the education of our children and how best to keep them safe from a virus the world still knew little about. But as with many things in the Commonwealth, local school systems are not created equal. We faced our own unique challenges. And here in Fairfax, decades of underfunded overcrowding issues and a 37-year school renovation cycle forced us to spend months installing updated HVAC and air handling systems and reconfiguring classrooms and lunchrooms to try to social distance students. With nearly 180 students and 28,000 staff members, we secured sufficient PPE and hand sanitizer, often by the hundreds of thousands. Working with the county and our health department, we stood up testing sites and vaccination clinics. Without this infusion of federal funds, none of this would have been possible because we continue to operate in Fairfax County with an overdependence on local financial support. I share this to illustrate that in Virginia, there simply cannot be a one-size-fits-all mentality when it comes to how best to serve students. While we had a strong and safe start to the 2021 school year, the latest COVID variant has reminded us that we are still not operating in a business as usual environment. We are burdened by critical substitute and bus driver shortages and a teacher workforce that has been stretched to their limits because they've been asked to reinvent the wheel and adapt more times than I can count. They have risen to this challenge, and we owe them a debt of gratitude and an increase in salaries that match their professional capabilities. They exemplify the best of Fairfax County. In the early summer of 2020, I first discussed the necessity of masking and gained the support of my colleagues at the time to make this adjustment a requirement in our schools. Today, every major health organization and expert recommends universal masking in schools as a key mitigation strategy. Our own data we've collected has proven it is a crucial piece of stopping COVID transmission in schools. We must protect localities' ability to implement this common sense health measure. I'm extremely proud of the work our system and our board has undertaken. We've prioritized serving our children with detailed intervention plans and built-in accountability measures to ensure we're closing academic gaps and unfinished learning. We are addressing mental and social emotional needs as children struggle to recover from the trauma of a disruptive worldwide health crisis when their stability was shaken to its core. Many also experienced personal loss and illness from COVID. Our resolve is not shaken from addressing academic inequities of opportunity and access that are long-standing and deeply ingrained in the fabric of some of our public schools. We are guided by equity for all, the promise of one Fairfax, and of academic excellence for every single child. We will not be deterred from that commitment to our community. We are ensuring that our students have access to curriculum that reflects diverse American stories that tell all of our country's history, because we cannot strive to be a more perfect union if we do not understand our past. We have passed policies that strengthen our commitment to our most vulnerable students, particularly those that identify as LGBTQIA+, and that make it clear that no matter what, we will not tolerate discriminatory and dehumanizing attacks on anyone's rights. Our public schools welcome all and are committed to serving everyone. Thank you to our Northern Virginia delegation for everything you have done to ensure our schools have the resources to serve our students. And as you prepare to go to Richmond, I ask you to remember that our students and families are counting on you to continue the fight for strong, safe, and inclusive public schools that serve all children. Please continue to prioritize ways we can help students recover and provide them flexibility to graduate while disruptions due to the pandemic are ongoing. These past 2 years, we have witnessed our public schools and elected school board members come under attack across this nation. We must acknowledge that when public education is under attack, so is our very democracy. Our founding fathers made clear the necessity of strong, well-funded public schools because democracy dies without an informed citizenry. We have seen misinformation campaigns take hold, encouraging deep mistrust in our public institutions and our public servants. Those interested in destroying our public schools have taken advantage of the trauma and pain the pandemic has caused for so many and encouraged a mob rule mentality. Nationally and locally, we have seen school board meetings devolve into violent, unruly shows where orderly business is interrupted. School board members, including our very own, have been harassed, humiliated, dehumanized, and even threatened. And make no mistake about it, questioning elected leaders, demanding transparency and accountability is indeed necessary in our democratic process. Manipulation and misinformation, however, is a far cry from that. Dragging hardworking, passionate elected school board members into court and wasting public monies because a small minority of well-funded individuals wants to overturn legitimate elections on the basis of policy disagreements is an attack on our democracy. In the United States, we hold our leaders accountable at the ballot box. We do not manipulate free and fair elections in the courts for political gain. We prioritize country over individual gain. Those are our shared American values. And while today it may be school board members, make no mistake, if the January 6th insurrection is any indication, it won't stop there. And to our legislators, I implore you, please do all you can to protect our public schools. Do not allow our local control to be ripped from those elected leaders who know their communities best and have been afforded the constitutional power to make the decisions that impact them. Do not support any non-public school initiatives that will rip money away from our public schools. And please do everything you can to preserve this public institution, this fundamental bedrock of our society, for it is our best hope in combating segregation, political decisions, and inequities. Please stay healthy and safe in Richmond, and know that we stand behind you 100% as you fight to protect our shared values and the future of the children of Fairfax County and of this Commonwealth. Strong public schools make for a strong Commonwealth. The citizens of Fairfax County overwhelmingly support our public schools. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Stella.